Hello, everybody, and welcome to the GamesMatter event for December 12th, 2014. I am MegapiemanPHD, and today I have Dave Toulouse. If I'm saying that correctly, I think I am Toulouse. Toulouse. I apologize for that. He's going to be with me, and we're going to be talking about his game, Human Extinction Simulator. How you doing today, David?
Hi, I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Now, I apologize for the little bit of troubleshooting problems that we had earlier. Hopefully, all of that is now fixed, but if there are any more issues, please do bear with me, people in chat. I'll do the best that I can to try to take care of everything and get all of that fixed up so that we don't have any more issues throughout the rest of the interview. So, Dave, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is you do?
Okay, so I'm 35. I live in Quebec, Canada. I'm a programmer at my day job, and at night and weekends I work on games. I've been doing so since 2007. My first game was an MMO, a Golemizer, a web MMO. It didn't work quite well, but I learned a lot doing it, and since then I've been working on games.
So you do have some previous experience. Now, the company that Human Extinction Simulator is being built with is Machine 22. That's your company. The previous
Yep.
projects, were those Machine 22 projects as well?
Yeah.
Did you have any kind of previous experience before you started at Machine 22, or did you start out kind of on your own going into game design?
Well, I come from a web developer background, so my first game was entirely done with JavaScript, HTML, and an SQL database. So it was all stuff I already used at my day job. So I just picked the stuff I knew and tried to make a game with it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Start small and branch out with it. Now, you said that you worked on at least one other project before Human Extinction Simulator. How big is the library at Machine 22 at this point?
Human Extinction Simulator is my 13th game, but my first PC release was a match 3 named Brett Airborne. It was released in 2013. And before that, it was mostly some Flash games I posted on portals, and of course my MMO, which I did at first, which was a bit crazy. And then I did another MMO, which didn't work at all, and two other web games. So it was mostly small games at first, but now I'm trying to get into the PC market.
It's funny how you say you started with small games when the first things that you made were MMOs, which are huge.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, it's really huge, but I would recommend to anyone wanting to build one to do it, just to see what it is and just to learn from it.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about Human Extinction Simulator? This game isn't actually finished from what I understand, so it's not fully out yet, but it is pretty close.
Yeah, hopefully I will release next year, next month maybe. Currently you have a pretty advanced beta version. And all it's missing from it is a couple of missions and, of course, a lot of bugs that I fix and tweaks, like the interface you see right now. The menu is completely changed right now in my version. So right now I'm just making sure it looks more professional.
Do you have any plans about where you're going to distribute the game? Something like a Steam Greenlight page, or are you going to put it up on something like Desura?
Yeah, the game is currently on Greenlight. It's been on Greenlight for some months now. So if people want to vote, it's pretty easy to find. Just don't type simulator, type Human Extinction Simulator, just to make sure you don't stumble on other simulator game. And beside that, it will of course be on my own website. But right now, I don't plan to use the Zura or other stuff like that. Maybe the Humble store, but other than that, that will be it.
Well, it's interesting that you decided to put simulator in the name, since currently there are a lot of simulator parodies out there, like Goat Simulator, Surgeon Simulator, and I think on Steam recently something called Grass Simulator came out. Which, if that game can get on Steam, man, this one should have no problem. But it's interesting you decided to put simulator, because even though Human Extinction Simulator may be a bit of a simulator, it's actually a pretty serious and in-depth game.
Yeah, actually at first when I started about a year ago, the game was named The Stars Remember. But the thing is, there are so many games with the name Star in it that nobody could remember the name.
Hmm.
And the tagline was Human Extinction Simulation. So it wasn't supposed to be the title at first, but everyone remembered the tagline better than the name itself. So I just switched it up. But at the time, there was a Surgeon Simulator and Goat Simulator, that's it. But now there's a Rock Simulator, Grass Simulator, and so
There's a lot of simulators out there nowadays.
yeah, I wish I could have released a bit earlier, but hey, now it's done.
Well, I think your game will stand out because it's not a parody of the simulator genre. It's actually a pretty in-depth game itself. Now, I'm going to get into the game here before we get too far into the interview a bit more. If anybody in the chat has any questions, feel free to leave those down there, and I will transfer them over to Dave so that we can try to get those answered for you guys. Now, your game's really hard. I've gotten to mission 3 in the first area, and that's it. That is all I've been able to do, and I just barely got through mission 2. This game, it is a very hardcore space strategy game, and I know there's a market for that. There's a market for just about anything, but why did you make the game so difficult?
Well, one thing you might have noticed is that the game itself isn't very complicated to understand. There's not a lot of stats to understand. There's not a lot of mechanics to learn. So the difficulty resides in the levels themselves. So it's really, I see it like a game of chess. So chess is really easy to learn, but if you want to to play against a master of chess, then you'll have some problems. So it's a bit the same thing I wanted to create here.
Well, it kind of works because this is the first mission. You don't have like a step-by-step tutorial, which is good because step-by-step tutorials get kind of old very quickly. But when it comes to a game like this, a turn-based strategy game, you would expect some kind of step-by-step tutorial that would take you through every single little thing. Having had some experience in this genre, I was able to quickly understand a lot of the basics of just how to play the game and how things worked. But Human Extinction Simulator has some very interesting mechanics that I've personally been having a lot of trouble trying to wrap my head around. And one of those is the fact that your ships can only move forward.
Yeah, so each ship has a very specific way to move. So the game is a bit like a puzzle, if you wish. So the constraint I've put on each ship, the way they can fire, the way they can move, it's a puzzle you must figure out to beat the mission.
And I definitely agree with that because some of these are, I've been having a lot of issues trying to figure out all the puzzles. Oh man, I'm in a bad situation. Another weird thing about, not necessarily a weird thing, a unique thing about Human Extinction Simulator is how it comes to dealing with your ability to fire. Now, you can only fire in front of you, as well as only be able to move in front of you. And all of these hexes down here have little arrows on them, which will show you which direction that you will be shooting. So my ship right here, even though this enemy is right next to it, I actually can't fire against that. And that's another thing that I'm kind of having an issue trying to wrap my head around when it comes to this game.
Yeah, at first, the very first prototype I built for this game, it was completely different, and I was trying to come out with a concept that would recreate stealth in space, something like a smuggler game, and it just didn't work. It was an action game, and the thing in space is that you don't have walls.
Mhm.
You can get around obstacle pretty easily. So that's when I started to add stuff like the turn-based mechanic and then the grid. And the end result is that in some way it's like you have stealth a bit. It's not really stealth, but the way you have to move the ship to fire at your target or get out of the way, it's like a bit like a stealth system.
Right. Did you have a lot of issues when it came to figuring out the specific designs once you decided what you wanted to go with? You said that you had issues with the because originally the game was going to be a stealth game, but once you figured out that you wanted to take this direction with it, was it kind of difficult to figure out exactly what to do with the direction you decided to go with?
Actually, the biggest challenge was how to code the AI. And that took a long time to figure out right. Because there are each ship can move twice a turn and attack once, and the AI needs to be aware of what the player can do next turn. And as you can see, each ship can move maybe 6 to a dozen plays different.
Hmm.
So it makes a lot of calculation to consider, and that was the biggest challenge to come up with the AI.
There's also been, from what I've played, I don't necessarily know if this is necessarily a bad thing or not, because the game is supposed to be somewhat of a difficult game, but it feels to me that you're always outclassed. You always seem to be outclassed from any of the aliens you're going against. Anytime it just feels like the equivalent units, like the Fighter One of the aliens and the Fighter One of the humans, the aliens seem to be a little bit more powerful almost all the time. Is that necessarily true, or is that just me not completely understanding the mechanics of the game?
No, you're right, and part of it is because the AI, the more you play, the more you'll see patterns in the AI, and the more easy it gets to beat. So I had to give some kind of edge to the AI, but it's not quite cheating because there's no random element the AI is tweaking. So all what you see is what you get. And also, I wanted to give that impression that it's hopeless a bit,
Hmm.
simply because of the title of the game. So the player will always feel like he's behind the enemy. So when you actually win against the AI, then it's a better feeling, if you wish.
I can definitely agree with that because half the time when if or when I do end up actually beating one of these missions, it's not expected at all. Not really expected at all. So, what were some of the inspirations behind the game? You said that it originally started with a different name and basically a completely different title altogether.
Yeah. So it was really the concept of the smuggler game I wanted, but it, I don't know how to explain it. But it's just the more I was playing with the code, the more the game came by itself. There was no specific plan before I started to code it, which is probably a bad thing, and it's why it took so long to code. But it's my experience by playing with the code I had and tweaking it, and that's what created the game.
So, it kind of organically took place.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not. it's not how I used to work most of the time, but in that case, my initial objective was so far away, so it's hard to explain. There, you got it.
Finally, took forever. Now, there are secondary objectives to get as well as the main objective, and you also get a rating at the end of that. Do you unlock something for getting all the secondary objectives or getting all of the high ratings, or is that just for bragging rights?
Right now it's just for bragging, but if, or I should say, when the game make it to Steam, then I want to use their achievement system for that.
Alright, so, like I said before, I've only beat Mission 1 and Mission 2, so what mission do you think I should show off next? I've tried Mission 3, I have yet to be able to actually beat it, because you really did a good job in making a player feel kind of hopeless, and it's interesting because it's like, I feel hopeless because I feel like I'm going to get outclassed all the time, but yet I still feel like there's a chance. I don't feel like that there's no point in even trying because I still feel like I have a chance of getting through it, especially in level 3 here when you have a lot of ships on your side, even though every single mission changes around the different win scenarios, so it's not always kill everything. But do you have a specific mission in mind that you would like to show off next?
Let's see. Okay, maybe if you go back and select the next scenario. Okay, maybe that one. Select and the first mission,
Alright.
just to show how it starts.
Do these have specific difficulties to them? Like the Delta system will be easier than Operation Red Shield, will be easier than Alpha Vanor, or does it necessarily matter which one you start with?
You're better to start with the Deltria system, the first one you you try, because each mission I add another notion, another mechanic. So just to make sure I don't throw everything at once at the player. So it's better to play them in the order they are at.
I'm glad to hear that because with a lot of games like this, you said that it's not super in depth, but there's still a lot you have to learn about it. And it's very easy to overwhelm someone who either doesn't play games like this or hasn't played a ton of them.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so it starts and bang.
Oh, I had such an amazing fleet, and now they've destroyed it.
Okay, so the goal here, there's a transport at the left of the screen. You have to take it to safety. Now, if you click on it and then you click the 3 arrows button at the bottom here, yeah. So you must take this ship there to complete the mission.
And now
And
imagine if it gets destroyed, I lose the mission.
yeah, exactly.
So this is similar to I think it's Mission 3 of the Delta system where they introduced the escort missions. How many different types of missions are there in the game? There's the ones like the first one that we already did that destroys you have to destroy everything and keep your people alive. There's this one which is the escort mission where one ship has to get to another point.
There are missions that are simply just destroy everything you see. There are other missions where you need to rescue people. So even if you're losing the battle, it doesn't matter much as you can just focus on getting your people out. But of course, if you lose too many ships before doing that, then you'll have trouble getting out. There's also a mission in which, a scenario in fact, in which you infiltrate enemy territory. So you have to sneak past them in a way. It's not really sneaking, but you have to get out alive with all your ships. So it's pretty much the kind of mission you can expect.
Is there any of them that you think are specifically a lot more difficult than other ones?
Yeah, the mission you have to rescue people
That's
are
a
quite,
transport.
yeah, those are quite difficult because you tend to forget the battlefield a bit and you focus on your transport. But if you don't manage the battlefield correctly, then the enemies will come at your transport. So,
Right. I thought this ship here, because it says at the top of the screen what class the ships are, I didn't realize is that these big ones were also transports, and then I've got two different kinds of transports in this level.
yeah, the interesting thing here is to complete the main objective, you can lose those big transports. So it can be a strategy to block the enemy with your transport. So that's why it's called Red Shield. So you only have to save a few people and you can sacrifice a lot.
Well, let's try and see if I can save as many as I possibly can. Operation Meat Shield, more like it. Alright. Is there a way to actually speed up the movement of the ships or speed up the AI's movement time? Because depending upon how many ships they have, it can take a while for them to get everything in line.
Yeah, yeah. When the AI is done, you can go to the option menu by pressing escape or the little door at the bottom right of the screen. It's visible right now, but you can turn off the movement. A bit like Civilization, if you wish.
Mhm.
It's nice to see the ships at first, but when there are 20 ships on the screen, the AI needs to move, then it can take a long time. So if you press escape, you can just cut it off. In
Alright.
the video option, there you
I
have
see
player
here.
move animation. Yeah,
Alright, so
you can turn that off.
we'll turn that off here just so we can hopefully get through a couple of these missions a bit quicker. Since some of the missions can last a long time depending on what's going on. And unfortunately, unfortunately, this game is one of those games where you can have like a 20-minute match against the AI and lose. So that's a
Yeah,
shame.
it's pretty unforgiving, yeah. But the nice thing is that the whole game is sorry, deterministic. So there's no random, there's no luck. So if you play a game, if you play a mission the same way twice, the result will be exactly the same. So let's say you have a nice start, but you find out later that you screwed something, you missed something, then you can start the exact same way and you'll get the exact same result. The AI will react the exact same way. So you can learn from the strategy you built on.
Well, that's good to hear. One of the other issues that I've been having with this game, it's not necessarily an issue, but it's something that I have a very difficult time trying to keep in mind, is the fact that, I mean, this is a space game, so enemies and ships have shields on them, and you have to first take out a shield before you can do damage to the ship. But there's some attacks that can only damage the shield, and some attacks that can't be fired if a ship still has a shield on it.
Yeah, I thought the game was too easy, so I had this difficulty.
Thought the game was too easy, huh? Who told you that?
It might not seem like that, but it's really hard to balance this game right because the fact there's no luck factor in there. It's if I build a mission, it's quite possible that it just cannot be beaten.
Mhm.
So when I test the game, I have to play and play again and play again until I figure a way to beat the mission. And if after 10, 15 times I cannot beat it, then now I know I have to take something out or add more ships to the player, and it's quite tricky.
Is there a way to repair your ships or your shields?
Yes, but in limited ways. In some missions later, you have space stations that can boost the shield and repair the hull. And you also have ships that can release drones that can do the same.
Okay. The game is pretty big to the point that it's difficult kind of to tell where. You got one shot off!
Yeah,
But yeah,
he shot you
it's
with a missile, yeah.
it's that kind of a thing. Things can change very quickly. I thought I was doing great. I thought we were doing great. And then, now I'm dead. Alright, we'll give that another go. There is a question here from chat. Memories in 8-Bit asks that, are there any plans for user-generated content, like players being able to create missions for other players or something like that?
Yeah. The whole game, everything you see on the screen can be modded. Maybe the background, the nebula you see in the back, the planets, the ships, the patterns, the way the ships move or attack and missions can completely be created. It's I'll provide the doc later once I'm done with testing the game, but definitely players will be able to create their own missions, their own ships. If they want, they can do a Star Wars team mission, a Star Trek, whatever.
Well, that would work great considering that you're working on getting this game on Steam, so you could incorporate Steam Workshop.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So if the game can get some attention, I think there's some potential there to have it last a very long time just on user content.
That also brings up the option if you have any ideas for multiplayer, where you have two people going against each other, which I could kind of see that working in this game to a point. I'm not sure how player versus player would necessarily be great, but I think it could work out pretty well.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about, but there are some technical stuff I'm not certain about, so for now it's not in my plans. I'll release it as it is, and I'll see if it's very popular, maybe, but there are some challenges when it comes to multiplayer, so I'm not sure about that.
I could only hit shields, can't it? No, we can hit both.
One thing you can do that helps a lot, you maybe miss it in the previous mission, but if you hit space, you'll see dangerous tiles. So everything you see there, yellow tiles mean there's a possible danger, the hull will be damaged, and red tiles mean there's a possibility that your ship will get destroyed.
Also, if you press Shift, you can get rid of the HUD completely, which is a nice little thing to get a good view of the battle and where everything's going on.
Yeah, or to make nice screenshots, yeah.
Now, that's one of the problems I've actually been having with this game is that I'll have a ship that looks like it should be in my range, like this one, and for some reason I can't shoot it, and I have not been able to figure out why.
Okay, in that case, if you put the cursor over the ship, you'll see at the top right, you'll see it has a 6, put back the cursor on the enemy.
Okay.
You see it has 6 hull points, 0 shield, but it can resist 2 damage. I think it's explained in a tutorial somewhere, I don't remember where. The same goes for other ships. If you put back the cursor on your own ships, okay, now you can take the cursor and put it over the resist one at the top right of the screen, and there you'll have it.
Resist 1 damage from attacks targeting the shield. So, are you saying that my attack isn't strong enough to break through this thing's hull, which is why I can't attack it?
Yeah, because this ship has only.
It's got an 8 defense because it has 2 resist points and 6 hull points.
In fact, everything that does 2 points of damage or less will be in your. So your only goal to destroy this ship is to use rockets or missiles. You have rockets on the 2 fighters. You have in the middle of the screen, the yellow spots. So you have rockets there, and you have rockets and missiles on your cruiser at the left of the screen.
So what would happen if all my ships with rockets ended up being destroyed? Would the mission just be unbeatable? If it was a
Not,
mission where I had to take out all of the enemies.
yeah, that would be the case. Yeah. In fact, in the very last mission, when you're fighting over Earth, there is one ship that you just cannot hurt unless you keep one specific ship alive until the very end. So it's another layer of difficulty.
That's what we need. More difficulty. All right. We do have another question here in chat. Memories on 8-Bits asks if FTL, or Faster Than the Light, was an inspiration on Human Extinction Simulator. Because he's saying that to him it feels like FTL, but a bit on a larger scale.
I wasn't directly inspired by FTL, but I played so much of it that it's quite possible that just the fact that I love FTL, that it just transpired on this game. I love game where I can take my time to think or pause the action and check what's going on. So FTL is definitely a game I played a lot and still play. So it's quite possible that my love for this game just went into this project.
Now, do I have to worry about... I think some weapons I have to worry about if I have a ship in front of me or not. That the weapon won't be able to hit anything behind the ship in front of me, and other ones I don't.
Yeah, this is one of the points I probably have to make a better job in the tutorial to explain. So basically, lasers, cannons, and rockets can be blocked by other ships, while torpedoes and missiles can attack even if there's a ship right in front of you.
Alright. So there, even though this game isn't necessarily as super in-depth as some other space games, like you said before, there's still a lot of depth to it, and that was probably a very stupid decision. But we're going with it anyway. Okay. So for this particular mission, the only thing I have to do is get my transport to the end, so I don't have to kill everything.
No, that's it.
Doesn't mean I don't want to kill everything, but, you know, I don't have to. I'm not that great of a pilot. I do like how you can just hover over your enemies and automatically see where they're all going.
Yeah, beside the AI, the interface is what took the most time to work out. I really wanted that it was as easy as possible to understand, so I wouldn't have much to create a tutorial. I just hate to create tutorials, so I figured that if the interface was good enough, if it gave away enough, that I could just put the minimum in the tutorial. So all you need is move the mouse around and you already have 50% of the answer.
Right, and that's something that a lot of games have been kind of against recently. There have been a lot of games out there that have become very, very hand-holdy, that don't necessarily give you the chance to figure out how to play them before they start telling you how to play, which can be good for a game that's very, very in-depth in a game kind of like this. But I do like how you're able to give enough visual feedback that your people are pretty easily going to be able to understand what's going on. They may not understand every single little detail right off the bat, but they'll have somewhat of an idea of how to play the game right off the bat. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. Is there something that determines whether your ship can turn or not? Because you can turn some of these, but smaller ones like fighters, you can't turn them. You have to move them around.
Yeah, you can move all the ships but the small ones. The fighters, the drones, and the bombers.
Alright. See.
And just to add some difficulty, when you turn a ship, then you cannot do anything else with it.
Yeah, you don't get, unlike other strategy games, you don't get action points. You get basically one thing you can do outside of moving.
Yeah.
If you move, you can move twice, but anything else you do, you only get to do it once.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that's I'm having issues trying to get used. I'm used to my action points where I can do 3 or 4 things per turn. Okay. I think I can finally take this guy out, maybe. Oh, there we go. Alright, alright. Thankfully, this guy hasn't really gotten hit too much, even though there are people right around him. But it's because a lot of these ships have a lot of different range. And
Yeah.
trying to figure out what the range is it's nice that just by hovering over it, it shows you all that range. I mean, you get this game gives you a ton of user feedback. And I really, really like that. That's a bad position. Like, just by right now clicking on these different areas, these different hexagons with this, then the ones with the right triangle on it, that means that if I go to that area, I will be able to get hit. I don't have to guess whether or not this guy will be, something will be able to hit me. I can already know that I will be able to take, I will take some damage if I go there.
Yeah, well, in fact, you may take damage. It depends how the AI reacts. Each ship has its own personality, if you want. Uh, Players will be able to see that when I give the doc for modding the game. You can set the ship to act aggressively, so it won't bother with defending itself. You can set the ship to hunt a specific type of ship, so it will move past other ships. Or you can set a ship to just attack everything within range and set priorities. So some ship will prefer to attack fighters while other will go after your transport. So even if it's marked as a red tile, it's possible that no one will shoot at you. It's just telling you that it's possible.
Alright. Now I'm going to try something that I haven't really done. I'm going to attempt to use this button. I'm not sure what's going to happen. Hopefully it's something good. Okay, we're going to...
Okay.
Oh, do you have to charge that?
Okay, so each ship has a range which it can use the booster, and cruisers have a minimum range that is higher than fighters. So here you don't have enough space to use the booster because you'd get out of the screen. So maybe if you test which ship you could try, I think you cannot try any ships here. If you turn the fighter at the bottom of the screen to face a direction that is free, you could see the effect of that. But in fact, if you want to try this function, I can take you back to another mission in which you have to use a booster to place your ship in a strategic way.
All right, we'll check that out once once I've lost this mission. But it's a set distance that it goes. You can't activate it and then pick a destination.
No, exactly.
Okay.
So I think for the fighter, the minimum distance is 15 tiles.
Is there a specific reason why you have it go in the direction that you're at and you can't pick where it's going?
It's simply in fact, when you use the booster, you cannot do anything else. So it's like it's a bit simulating the fact that it needs to charge. So you can't turn the ship around before doing that.
I just caused 10,000 casualties and I feel bad about that. It's so hard not to call it. People die. Like, there's just. I'm glad that there's simulator in the name of this game because there are casualties just everywhere, and it's almost unavoidable from what I've seen. Are there actually a ways to get through a mission like this specifically without having any casualties whatsoever?
This one, I don't think so. There are some missions I succeeded, and when I do succeed such thing when testing a mission, I try to put it in a secondary objective. So sometimes, like the very first mission, you have a secondary objective telling you to complete the mission in 4 turns. It's simply because I've been able to do it, so
You should be able to do it.
players, yeah. But 4 turns is pretty much the minimum for the first mission.
This guy should be in my range, it looks like. He doesn't have any resist, but I still can't hit him for some reason. His hull's 4.
It's because maybe if you click on it. Okay, it's because the cruiser already attacked this turn. If you check the little box at the bottom of the screen, right next to the weapons.
This one?
Yeah. So you'll see what's in green is the action you already took.
Oh,
What's
okay.
in white. But in the version I have here, there's more feedback to tell you you can't attack because you already did this turn. So that was one thing I kept running into. I was trying to attack a ship and then wonder why I couldn't. So I added feedback to tell the player, no, you already attacked this turn.
All right. I guess I just didn't get to the mission that the mission in Delta that told you what this box was for, because I hadn't actually learned that or knew that yet. Let's see. So this guy can move or attack. Or I actually, it doesn't seem like he can go anywhere. Okay.
Yeah, because he's blocked. There's a ship in front, so big ships can go over fighters and bombers and drones, but as soon as you have a frigate or cruiser or dreadnought in front of you, you're stuck, so you have to rotate the ship.
Can I fly over enemy ships?
Only fighters, bombers, and drones.
All right, so it doesn't matter which side it's on, it only matters what kind of ship it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Both transports have to get to the exit. Doesn't matter which transport gets to the exit?
Just a small one to complete the mission, and if you can get another one, I think you complete a secondary objective.
Alright, this guy should be out of range for just about everything, hopefully, and he won't explode. Trying to make enough of a distraction over here so that he'll be able to sneak around behind, because if you can get far enough away, a lot of these big ships, they can only move 1 or 2 spaces, and it seems like, except for this one, most of the small ones I've already taken care of. I think that's about all I can do for now. What I would like to see is maybe something where, I don't know, where, because you can tell your ship to end its turn, and that will also end it, but it's kind of hard to figure out. Like right now, I don't want to move this guy, but I don't know. I'm trying to get across something, but I completely lost my train of thought. So I apologize for that. But we do have another. It's not necessarily a question from chat, but it's a bit of a comment saying that have you looked into trying to get this game on something like GOG.com?
I haven't contacted them yet. Maybe I will, but I know they are a bit picky when it comes to the games they accept. They don't take all the games, so that's why for now I focus on Steam, Greenlight, and my own website.
The reason why I say that is because Memories on 8-Bit in chat, he likes DRM-free games. So if he was going to pick this game up, do you have you say that it's available on your own website, so do you have a DRM-free version available on your website?
Yes, totally. You can go on machine22.com and from there you'll see the Human Extension Simulator, and from there you can buy a DRM free copy. And I get more money than if I sell through Steam or GOG.
Alright. Oh, crap. That put me in range, and I didn't see... Oh, this is my ship. I thought this was an enemy ship. Okay. We might... Is that an enemy? That is an enemy.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
We
not
might be in a bit of a pickle here.
Yeah, so next turn you'll have to rotate the ship because it's facing an asteroid, a rock. I have some difficulties with some words. So you're facing a rock, so you won't be able to move over it. So
I
you'll
thought
have
that
to
was
rotate.
just background. I didn't realize that was actually in the map.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Okay. I do like how you have the kind of like there's this orange thing as I zoom in and moves in and out of the screen for the backgrounds. That's pretty cool, but you might want to make something to make it a lot more obvious that that's actually in the play space, because I didn't realize at all that any of these rocks over here were in the play space.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice difficulty touch at first, but yeah, I agree. Maybe I should put some colors around the tile to make it clear that it's blocked, something like that.
Yeah, some
Because
sort of like just like a small outline around it to make it a little bit
yeah,
easier to notice.
yeah,
Okay.
because there is a level in which you have to get through an asteroid field, and some of them are in the background, but some of them are on the board. So you have to pay attention to know which is which. So, but yeah, good point.
Alright, we're going to end my turn here, and we're going to see if I lose. I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose. No! Crap! Do they have a chance to miss? Is there a chance they can miss
No.
that?
If they fire, they hit every time.
So this isn't a percentage-based game. If it shoots at something, it's going to hit it.
Yeah, yeah. There's no luck, no roll dice, no random.
Ah.
If
There's
you
also
lose,
no undo. There's no undo button.
yeah. I'm still thinking if I'll had some kind of replay function in which you can go back a few turns and pick it up from there or something like that.
Maybe you could have like multiple difficulties where if you play it on easy, you have undo, but if you play it on hard, you don't.
Yeah,
I guess.
something like that. Yeah, it could help. Yeah.
All right, so let's do one more mission. And you were talking about a mission that used the speed up function. I don't know if it's hyperspace specifically. I don't remember what it was called. Which mission is that particularly?
Okay, so go back and go left.
Oh, that's the wrong way.
The other left.
The other left. Yes, we got it. We got it.
Okay, that one. And then in it, find the ambush mission.
Okay, here we go.
So the nice thing in that mission is that you're not protecting anything. You have to destroy something. You have to destroy the transport of the AI. So it's reverse.
Oh, the
You
tables
don't
have
have to
turned.
protect anything here.
Okay, so we'll give this a bit of a shot and see how things go here. Okay, destroy all the transports before they escape. Please simulation 7 turns or less. Is there anything that tells you how close the transports are to escaping besides visually? Is there a countdown timer or anything?
No, but when you're saying that, I guess I probably. Oh, okay, wait.
All right,
So if
all right.
you want to use the booster, you can now, because if you check the minimap, your ships are quite far from the enemy.
They are. I also like that I can click and drag around on the minimap. That makes moving around a lot easier.
Yeah. So now you can use the booster,
Use our booster here.
and you can select a distance, and you'll see where the ship will end.
So you do have a little bit of control over where the ship's going to land. You can't pick the specific tile, but you can pick how far it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
If I go farther, do I have to wait longer for the thing to charge back?
No.
All right. Let's go about 20.
Okay, so you'll see the path the ship will follow and where it will end.
All right, and we shall activate that. All right, so that's pretty cool. That's good for getting ships in and out of areas as long as they are looking elsewhere. But when it comes to small things like that, it's like the bombers and the fighters, like we talked about before, you can't actually change their direction. So if you have a big ship, it could be useful to get a big ship that's about to explode out of somewhere. But it's not going to be super great for these fighters here. Let's try to get everybody not necessarily completely nestled together. Let's see where these guys are at. How far can they move? Yeah, I'm safe all the way out here. And there seems to be 5 transports. So hopefully we'll be a little bit alright. I already moved, so he can't do another one. So, before we wrap things up here, if anybody has any more questions in the chat, since it's probably going to be the last mission we do here, whether or not I succeed and or fail, we'll see how that goes. If anybody in chat has any questions or anything they would like to ask before we completely finish the interview today, feel free to write that in the chat, and I will be sure to pass that on. You do say this game is somewhat like chess, and I definitely have to agree with that. It's a very, very chess-like game that's mostly easy to play, easy to understand, but it's definitely not easy to master. Not at all.
Yeah. That's also the kind of games I like to play. I just hate when I have to spend hours and hours just to figure out just how to get started. I'd rather get into the action right away and just figure things out as I play, because I don't get to play a lot. I mostly develop games, so when I get to play, I want to sit and play right away. I don't want to spend hours reading stuff and learning the perfect tech path or things like that.
Yeah, and I can understand that. There was a game I came across like a while back that it didn't have a built-in tutorial. It had like a 3-hour video tutorial. And I'm not watching that. I'm sorry. I know you worked hard on your game, but I'm not watching a 3-hour tutorial video.
No, it's just, yeah, and people just don't read. So you have to make sure that they don't have to read, because they won't. Right. Even if it's right in front of their face, they won't read. So the less text, the better.
Right. And if anybody in chat would like to try to get a copy of Human Extinction Simulator, you can then talk to Indie Gamer Chick on Twitter. That is at Indie Gamer Chick. She's got a bunch of titles, a bunch of codes that she will be giving away throughout the night until she runs out of codes. But if you do decide to take a code, then you've got to be sure that if you like the game, talk about it. Tell your friends, talk about it over Twitter, talk about it over Facebook. Make sure you let people know that you played this game and you liked it. Wear your I played this game and I liked it shirt. Those will be available in a week in the store. No, they're not. We don't have a store. But, yeah, make sure you let people know and help get this game out there. Because it does have a Steam greenlight, and it's difficult, but it's still kind of fun. I still like it. I like it a lot. I'm not really big into this genre just because I have a hard time trying to understand a lot of games in this genre, since they usually have a lot of very, very complex ideas. But Human Extinction Simulator is complex enough that there's still a lot to learn, but it's simple enough that even someone like myself can understand it. So, if anybody would like to win a copy of this game, feel free to talk to Indie Gamer Chick. Is there anything that you would like to go over here before we completely wrap things up? David?
Yep, sorry. Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to go over before we wrap this up?
No, just vote for the game on Greenlight if you want to buy it from Steam. That's the only way you'll be able to get it there. And hopefully the game will be released next month, maybe in 2 months max. I might wait a bit if I think I have a chance to release at the same time on Steam. If not, 2 months max, it will be out.
Do I only have 2 ships. Ooh, this isn't good. This isn't good at all. But it made me wonder, considering how polished the games is at this point, why you decided not to do like Steam Early Access.
You first have to pass green light to get there, or have a contact at Valve.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you have contacts, Twitter, Facebook, anything like that people can use to keep track of you or the game?
Yeah, so my website is machine22.com. From there you can see Human Extinction Simulator as well as my previous titles. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, just look for over00.
All right. So there you have it, guys. That is pretty much it for Human Extinction Simulator as I lose my second to last ship. We're playing the swan song here. I don't feel confident about how well this is going to go. Oh, we're still alive. Somehow. I'm going to go until I'm dead. So, maybe... Nope, that's it. We're done. We're done here.
Mission failure.
Thank you again, Dave, for talking to me today about your game, Human Extinction Simulator. Feel free to follow him on Twitter and Facebook. Check out Machine22. And check out Human Extinction Simulator on Steam Greenlight. Give it a vote, guys. It's a pretty good game, and I don't see a reason why it shouldn't be on Steam. It's definitely the quality enough to get onto Steam. So thank you again, Dave, for talking to me. Thank you, chat, for being here. And I have been MegapieMan. I'll talk to you guys later.